Renzo leaned against the balcony rail of Docking Bay 9, watching ships come and go like fireflies in an endless metal night. He wasn't supposed to be here. This was neutral zone space, the kind of place where everyone smiled and hid knives behind their backs. But he wasn't here for politics. He was here for her. Celira stepped out of her transport, her violet skin glowing faintly under the station lights. Her eyes were sharp, full of calculation, but her voice when she greeted him was soft, private. They'd only spoken through encrypted transmissions before now, and already their messages had grown too intimate, too dangerous. "Engineer Renzo," she said, but her fingers brushed his as they exchanged data pads. The touch lingered. "Ambassador Celira," he whispered. "You didn't have to come in person." "I wanted to see your eyes when I lied," she said, teasing, though her tone faltered near the end. They met again later in the hidden alcove behind the observatory wing. Silence stretched between them, broken only by the low hum of the station's artificial gravity field. Celira leaned closer. "If they knew we were meeting like this," she began, but Renzo cut her off with a kiss. It was desperate, reckless. It was everything that had built up in the long nights between transmissions. Her body molded against his, elegant and strong. His hands wandered, touching her, not like a diplomat, but like a man who needed something more than treaties. "We shouldn't," she breathed, even as her lips traced his neck. "You're already here," he said. They didn't make love that night. They did something older, something ancient, sharing breath and skin and secrets in the darkness. For a moment, they weren't alien and human, just two souls orbiting closer. But after, her eyes were distant. "Renzo, I have to tell you something." He tensed. "What?" "My council, they've authorized a strike against the outer colonies. They think humans are too unpredictable, too dangerous." His chest turned cold. "And you agree with them?" She shook, her head slowly. "I told them no, but they don't listen to affection, only fear." He stepped back, heart pounding. "Why are you really here?" "Because I knew you'd find a way to stop them," she said. "Or become the reason they regret trying." Later, that night, Renzo broke every protocol. He sent encrypted messages to Earth's defense grid. He downloaded blueprints of Kevrian fleet patterns. He watched the stars and waited. And Celira? She watched him with an expression torn between guilt and something else, something hotter, hungrier, full of grief and lust. "If this is the end," she said, curling beside him in his bunk, "let me remember you like this." His fingers traced the ridges of her spine. "They don't know what happens when humans lose control." "Neither do I," she whispered. "But I think I want to." Outside the station, invisible ships waited in the dark, engines silent, weapons primed. War had not yet begun, but something more dangerous already had, and it tasted like her skin. Cassian wiped sweat from his brow as the power flickered again. The science station had been silent for weeks, deep in the black zone where no patrols came anymore. Now it was under attack, hit by something fast, alien, and deadly. The alarms were dead. Only the emergency lights flickered red like a bleeding wound. He wasn't alone. She stood by the shattered console, her skin pale blue and slick with blood. Some hers, some not. Armor cracked, eyes fierce. Cassian knew who she was. Valina. Tactical. Commander of the alien fleet that had been pushing human borders for months. She'd crashed here too. "Don't try anything," she growled, her voice rough with pain. "I won't," he said, raising both hands. "You're injured." "So are you," she snapped, eyeing the blood running down his leg. "Why didn't you kill me when you had the chance?" Cassian laughed softly. "Maybe I wanted someone to talk to while I bleed out." She stared at him for a long moment, then sat down with a grunt, clutching her side. Silence fell again, thick and warm in the failing light. "They'll think we're dead," she said after a while. "Probably," he replied. Her gaze drifted over him from his stubbled jaw to the torn uniform clinging to his body. "You're not what I expected from a human." "Good. You're not what I expected from a war tactician either." He glanced at her curves, her strong arms, her wounded pride. I thought you'd be less beautiful. Her mouth twitched. That line works with your own kind? Only when we're about to die, he said, smiling faintly. Valina shifted, her face closer. Now. Her hand hovered near her sidearm but didn't reach for it. Instead, she brushed a lock of hair behind his ear. Humans talk too much. Maybe, Cassian said, but you keep listening. They kissed before they realized they meant to. It started soft, slow, full of hesitation and adrenaline. Her lips tasted like iron and fire. His touch was shaky, gentle despite the ache in his body. And then it deepened, her body pressing against his fingers pulling her closer. They were enemies. They were broken. They were alive. She groaned as his hand slid beneath the jagged edges of her armor. Her own fingers found the hem of his uniform, trembling and rough. This is a mistake, she whispered, as he kissed the line of her jaw. It's the only thing that feels real, he whispered back. They didn't stop. They undressed each other slowly, carefully, as if trying to memorize everything before the world ended. Sweat and skin, moans and breath, wrapped in heat and silence, their bodies tangled in the faint light, not as enemies, not even as lovers, just as two beings desperate to feel. When it was over, she curled against him, her head on his chest, listening to the beat of his heart. We're both going to die, here, she murmured. Maybe, he said, stroking her arm. But not today. You're reckless, stubborn, arrogant, she said. You're not wrong. Cassian smiled. But you still kissed me. She looked up, her expression unreadable. I'll kiss you again if we survive. The station shook. Far off, an explosion echoed. He sat up, pain flashing in his ribs. If we fix the comms, we might get a signal out. Valina nodded, her voice suddenly sharp again. Then move. We've already wasted enough time. Cassian grinned. You know, this means we're defectors now. She leaned in and bit his lip. Then let's betray everything. They rose together, side by side, human and alien. Lovers born of wreckage. And somewhere beyond the stars, both their sides would tremble. Not because of the war they fought, but because of what they might become together. Because if love like this existed, there was no logic that could stop it. The human ship Renegade Dawn was dying, its hull ripped open, systems offline, bleeding oxygen into the void. Commander Riven Hale coughed as he crawled through the smoke-filled corridor, blood dripping from a gash above his eye. Explosions echoed, behind him. Another energy beam tore through Deck 5. Crew were dead or missing. The flagship of the human fleet had fallen into an ambush, and standing over him, as graceful as she was lethal, was Kailara. Not human. Not even close. She was Zentari, one of the elite warrior caste, taller than him, skin like molten silver, eyes glowing amber, blades embedded in her arms like organic steel. She should have killed him. Instead, she offered her hand. You're the commander, she said in a low, vibrating voice. I expected more. Riven narrowed his eyes. If you're here to gloat, save it, just finish the job. Her lips curled. Your heart beats like thunder, even now, I like that. He slapped her hand away and pushed himself to his feet. Don't flirt with me, Kailara. Why not? She asked, stepping closer. You're angry, bleeding, desperate. It's attractive. Riven tried to hide the flush creeping up his neck. You're insane, she laughed. Maybe. But I didn't come here to kill you. You blew up my ship, he growled. No, she said, serious now. My people did. I broke ranks. Riven paused. Why? Her voice dropped to a whisper. Because I heard your broadcasts. The speeches you gave. The way you fought. Not just with weapons, but with passion. So, you betrayed your kind? For me? No, she said, stepping close enough for him to feel the heat radiating off her skin. I betrayed them for what you represent, for this fire inside you. I wanted to feel it. Before he could answer, her mouth was on his, hot and demanding. He should have pulled away, should have fought, but he didn't. He grabbed her by the waist and kissed her back with everything he had. There was no time for subtlety. Their bodies slammed together in the flickering light of the dying ship. She tore off his jacket. He ripped the blade gauntlets from her arms. They moved like warriors, fast, rough, tangled in hunger and fury. His hands slid down her metallic curves, fingers, exploring the strange softness beneath the armor. She moaned into his mouth, her claws leaving shallow scratches down his chest. "Your fire," she gasped. "Your war," he growled. She pinned him to the wall, grinding against him, and he groaned as heat surged through his body. It wasn't gentle. It was primal. Rage turned to lust, pain transformed into desire. Two enemies lost in heat, bruising, clawing, claiming. When they finally collapsed onto the floor, breathless and drenched in sweat, alarms still screamed in the background. Riven looked at her. "What now?" Kalara turned to him, lips bruised. "We make them afraid, together. They'll hunt us both," he said. "Good," she whispered. "Let them chase shadows." He took her hand. For the first time in years, his rage had purpose. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was choosing her. They walked down the corridor, naked but unashamed, fire burning in their eyes. War had changed. Them love had rebuilt them, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The stolen Zentarian cruiser hummed with stolen power. Deep in outlaw space, far from the front lines, Riven, Hale, and Kalara sat in silence, shoulder to shoulder, staring out at a dying red star. The war hadn't ended. Not really. But something had changed. They had changed it. "What now?" Riven asked quietly. Kalara leaned back in the captain's chair, armored legs stretched out, a strand of silvery black hair falling over her cheek. "We keep pushing, hit their weak points. Free the humans they've enslaved. Burn down everything rotten." Riven exhaled slowly. "You still want to burn the galaxy?" She turned to face him, golden eyes shimmering like the edge of a blade. "No, I want to remake it." A pause. Then, he grinned. "You always were ambitious." She didn't smile back. Instead, she stood, walking toward him slowly. Her hands, those once deadly claws, now brushed his cheek with surprising tenderness. "I was a weapon before you. Now I'm something else." He touched her waist, feeling the heat beneath her skin, always burning, always alive. "You're still a weapon," he said, "but now you're pointed in the right direction." Kalara laughed, a rare low sound. "And you, human, are still reckless and stupid. Only for you." They kissed. Slow this time. Gentle. A touch like peace after storms. Their bodies still bore scars, burns, cuts, the memory of violence. But the way they moved now was different. Softer. As her armor slid away, revealing the glowing patterns across her skin, veins of light running over muscle and bone, Riven marveled at her beauty. Not just the physical, but the soul beneath, the war-forged fury, the loyalty, the way she chose him every day, even when it hurt. Kalara straddled his lap, lips brushing his ear. "Say it again." "What?" "That you want me." "I don't want you," Riven whispered. "I need you." Their passion surged again, but not like before. This wasn't chaos, it was home. She wrapped her legs around him, bodies moving with practiced rhythm, slow grinding heat building into stars behind their eyes. Moans became murmurs, hands clenched, breath stolen. It was the kind of love that rewrites biology. Human and alien, flesh and fire. Different species. Same desire. When they finally collapsed onto the bed, tangled together beneath synthetic sheets and starlight, Kalara traced a finger across his chest. "We'll die for this one day," she murmured. Riven kissed her brow. "Then let's make them remember our names." And somewhere out there, in the war rooms of the Zentarian High Council, in the bunkers of the last surviving human colonies, the legend was already spreading. A human and a Zentarian fell in love. Then, they tore the galaxy apart together, and among the stars they remained warriors, lovers, legends,